Tonight on CTV News at 5.
You have free speech, but you have to consider what the consequences of that free speech are.
Watch what you say. Your comments can come back to haunt you.
It's a mound of color and it's really refreshing.
And fall is in full bloom. The Garden Guide brings the flower power.
It was 10 years ago that Jeremy lost his life, so it's a good way to honor his memory and also a good way to get more blood donations.
In his memory, Jeremy Burke's family and friends roll up their sleeves.
It was amazing. It was unforgettable.
Plus, a cruise of kindness. This mom and son are back after a dream voyage they'll never forget.
And partly cloudy with scattered showers for areas of the region both tonight and Friday.
Live from the Maritime's News Center, this is CTV News at 5.
Good evening and welcome to CTV News at 5. I'm Maria Pano-Palace. Thanks for joining us. First at 5 tonight, watch your words. Freedom of speech isn't necessarily freedom from fallout. Just look at Jimmy Kimmel or Gina Carano. Their high-profile comments put them in hot water with their employers. So, should you keep your opinion to yourself when you're on the clock? Or how about when you're off the clock? As CTV's Stephanie Seekos reports, talk may be cheap, but it could also cost you your career. Hi, Steph.
Hi, Maria. Especially in this digital world, what people say can follow them for life. But at the end of the day, experts say free speech should be protected.
Right? We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
Following that comment from Jimmy Kimmel, the comedian's late-night show was suspended indefinitely by ABC.
That type of speech is designed to be protected. What happened to Jimmy Kimmel should never have occurred, and all the case jurisprudence, all the case law that has been developed for the past 100 years down there was designed to protect people like Jimmy Kimmel from being able to express themselves.
The decision has sparked a discussion about free speech and just how free it is.
You have free speech, but you have to consider what the consequences of that free speech are. Your speech is not free if you're considering your private employer, unless you have contractual protections, unless you're part of a collective bargaining agent where you're agreement where you're protected by the rule of just cause.
When you start shutting down people for political viewpoints and ideologies, is that you stifle debate. And in a democracy, what's vital to a healthy democracy is good debate and good discussion.
It's not just what you say. What you post can have consequences too. So-called cancel culture is not new. Kimmel is just the most recent public case.
What I've seen happen over the last few years as we've seen, bigger political divides happening, is it's turned from being a form of community-driven activism to becoming used as a weapon against political and ideological viewpoints.
While this is on a large scale, lawyer Derek Brett says it could happen to anyone.
Don't think that it just hits the Jimmy Kimmels and the Stephen Colberts of the world, because ultimately it does trickle down to everybody.
Now, in terms of sharing opinions online, digital anthropologist Giles Crouch says what goes online stays online. He also noted social media algorithms often highlight controversial takes, so one comment could go much further than you expect.
Oh,
Maria.
That's interesting information. Thank you very much, Stephanie. CTV Stephanie Seekos for us in the news center this evening. All right, time to head over to Todd Battis now, who's standing by at the anchor desk with a look at the headlines. Hi there, Todd.
Hi there, Maria. CTV News has learned that several schools in Nova Scotia have done away with playing the national anthem in the mornings. The education minister heard from students and was quick to school the schools, demanding that they start playing "O Canada" again. We will have the details for you at 6 o'clock. A new study shows what many already know. More people are leaving emergency rooms before being treated. CTV's Laura Brown looks at just how many and speaks to one patient who did exactly that. The U.S. government's top representative in Canada is in the Maritimes. He's doing a bit of a tour. He cautioned maritime politicians and business leaders about characterizing the ongoing trade dispute between the two countries as a trade war. And coming up at 6 o'clock, we will hear from him as well. He'll stop by for an interview just after 6:35. I hope you'll join us for that. Let's go to the Weather Center now. Kayla Mitchell putting the wraps on what continues to be, in some parts of the region anyway, a hot day.
Oh, it certainly was, especially through northern and central areas of New Brunswick, where the sun shone through more than other parts of the Maritimes this afternoon, allowing those temperatures to climb up into a range of around the mid to high 20s, where they remain at as now we're approaching the early evening hours. Other parts of the Maritimes with temperatures mostly in the high teens and low 20s. Relative humidity took a little bit of a bump up for today, mostly because of some passing around, some scattered showers. More on that in a moment, but you can see has come up into the range around southern areas of New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Nova Scotia between 50 and 80%. The relative humidity lower again through central and northern areas of New Brunswick, and that sun has shone through a bit more. Checking in on the winds, a little bit variable in direction at this hour, but mostly being sustained between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. A little bit more on the breezy side for areas of Prince Edward Island right now, with sustained winds between 20 and 30. Those being reported like areas at Charlottetown and up at the weather station close to North Cape, and accompanied by a few gusts between 30 and 40. Taking a look at things on satellite and radar, you know what was a welcome sight in the region for today? Some scattered showers moving through. It wasn't a widespread soaking rain, and it's kind of a drop in the bucket when it comes to the overall amount of rain we could use in the region, but did have some scattered showers pass through areas of Nova Scotia, southern New Brunswick, PEI, and Cape Breton. A few more showers on the way in tonight and tomorrow. More on that when I'm back a little bit later on, Maria.
Kaylin, I had to wear my rain jacket today, and I wasn't mad about it one bit. We'll check in with Kaylin in a little while. Right now, though, we're going to take our first break here on CTV News at 5. But first, a preview of a couple of the stories still to come.
Hi there, I'm Allison. This is my dad, Billy, and my mom, Jerry, and we're going to tell you about our In Honor Clinic in memory of Jeremy, my brother, and their son.
Hey, it's Emily from Halifax Seed. Coming up next on the Garden Guide, we'll talk all about fall color and how you can still plant while conserving water.
Cheer on the Fleet Force Special Olympics as 200 trucks roll through Dartmouth October 4th. See firsthand what happens when big rigs come together with big hearts for a great cause. For more information, go to truckconvoyns.ca.
It's time for another Garden Guide. I'm here with Emily Trigano from Halifax Seed, and today we are talking about something that I love this time of year, fall color.
Absolutely. You know, it's been a little bit more of a drearier season, I guess you could say, with the droughts, and some annuals have not performed as well just because of the limited water resources. But fall color, it's so easy. It's so simple, and there's a few different ways you can go with it. So my simple, easy suggestion for just adding a bit of color to your front porch is to go with something like these chrysanthemums behind me. It's all ready to go in a pot. Put it on your doorstep, you are done.
And they're so beautiful.
It's it's a mound of color, and it's really refreshing, especially once the leaves start to fall off the trees and all of that stuff. Still, there are some annuals that are continuing to bloom. So, you know, some rudbeckias are always some of my favorites. Again, we have the chrysanthemums, but you can also still plant perennials. And, you know, the majority of what we have in front of us here are perennials. They do still have lots of color. You can get out and plant them. Now, that being said,
we're going to talk about water.
We have some additional challenges this year, right? So we are limited with the water. In a perfect world, when someone's, you know, heading home with a new perennial, I would say water it really heavily for the first 2 weeks. That's really going to help drive the roots down into the soil and create a healthy plant going into winter. We need to be really cautious of that.
Right, depending on where you are especially, but all year round it's a good idea,
So some of the things I'm recommending, adding kelp meal. Kelp meal into your soil can really help to retain a bit of moisture. So add some kelp meal. You can also use things like bark mulch over the soil. That will help to retain moisture as well.
Oh, okay.
So those would be my tips. If you have a rain barrel, that's always a great use of the water that you've collected as well.
Plants are resilient though, right?
You know what, for the most part, they really are. You know, we saw a lot of trees drop leaves this summer. You know, I think there was 1 week it looked like it was fall, but that was simply trees just being really smart and protecting themselves, dropping the leaves because the leaves do let off, you know, moisture contents. So, you know, for the most parts, plants have built-in mechanisms in them
to survive.
To survive. They want to survive, and I think it's going to be okay.
Awesome. All right. So, what's your favorite of all of these?
I mean, I have to say I love the ease of chrysanthemums, but I do have echinaceas and black-eyed Susans in my yard right now that are absolutely stunning and providing all the pops of color I'm looking for.
All that pop of color. Thank you, Emily. Always awesome advice.
Yeah, we'll see you next week.
Next time.
Ooh, fall colors for some gloomy, rainy fall days, of course, which we hope we have more of here in the Maritimes. Let's take a look at a little bit of video. This was shot by a drone from Johnstown, Nova Scotia. It's a great view here, so we'll just take it in for a moment. This was earlier this morning before we had some lower clouds move through, accompanied by some scattered showers. There's actually a few more showers in the forecast for parts of the Maritimes as we move through tonight and into tomorrow. And I'm going to have details of that forecast coming up after the break.
Start your morning with us for what you need to start your day. News, weather, and even a little fun. Your Morning Atlantic with Amanda Devison, Crystal Garrett, and Latavia Beezer. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on CTV2 and ctvatlantic.ca.
Meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell joins us once again. Kaylin, it was so nice to see some raindrops today.
Sure was, wasn't it? But even with that little bit of rain that moved through, it was very light. In most cases, even those areas that saw a shower today, it was rainfall amounts of trace up to around a few millimeters. More needed, of course. Let's take a look at our sunrise and sunset times. So for that, we're going to a view in around Sydney and Cape Breton for today. There's some of that increasing cloud cover that was followed up in some cases by some showers. Generally speaking, as we move through tonight, we can expect partly cloudy conditions, and a few more scattered showers in some areas as a cold front continues to approach from the west of us. So taking a look at our weather systems right now, barometric pressure has continued to fall over the past 24 hours, now sitting a little bit towards the lower side, starting to come down below 1,010 millibars at Fredericton, right around 1,010 at Charlottetown right now, and 1,012 millibars at Halifax International Airport. There was some movement northward of that stalled out low pressure system that's been around the eastern seaboard of the United States over the past couple of days, leading to some coastal flooding issues in some states. For us, though, the northern edge of that weather system just pushed through some of those scattered showers. Here's the second part of our weather basically coming up for tonight and tomorrow, and that's that cold front that's now currently making its way in through the St. Lawrence River Valley in through Quebec. So do actually have a couple of things to track for you on radar for this evening. We have a couple more showers left to clear through parts of Prince Edward Island. Again, maybe some rainfall amounts of up to around a few millimeters in those, and a couple of scattered showers still set to clear through parts of Cape Breton. There may also be a couple more showers around the north shore of Nova Scotia, and a little bit later this evening, chance of an isolated shower will actually carry on for Cape Breton. Then along that cold front that's making its way over the St. Lawrence River Valley in through Quebec, we can see a line of scattered showers there, and that is moving towards northern areas of New Brunswick. And then throughout the night, that'll be shifting down towards central areas of New Brunswick, and then eventually into parts of PEI and Nova Scotia through the day tomorrow. So that's what we're going to see here on our forecast timeline for cloud cover and precipitation. There is a break in the cloudiness between those two areas of showers. New Brunswick's been into that this afternoon. That break will be around as we make our way into the evening hours. There will be some patchy fog that develops tonight, along with those scattered showers into the north of New Brunswick, and a few spotty showers exiting the east of Nova Scotia. In the forecast for Friday morning, expect a fairly cloudy start to the day, some patchy fog around. Highest chance of showers in the morning, basically in the southern half of New Brunswick, so Fredericton, St. John, Moncton in the southeast, and in western parts of Prince Edward Island. Moving through Friday morning into Friday afternoon, those showers come across PEI and into northern eastern areas of Nova Scotia, with a lower chance of a shower in the southwest of Nova Scotia. And again, rainfall amounts out of those showers pretty low in most cases, maybe up to around a few millimeters. Winds in the forecast for Friday. It is a cold front, so behind a cold front as it moves through, winds typically become north and northwest in direction. So by Friday afternoon, a northwest wind across the Maritimes that'll have some gusts between 20 and 40 kilometers per hour. Low temperatures for tonight around the region for many parts of the Maritimes, still on the milder side, mostly around the low to mid-teens. A little bit cooler than that, right up around the northwest of New Brunswick, could get down between 9 and 12 degrees. Highs in the forecast for tomorrow in the north of New Brunswick between 15 and 19. Many other parts of the Maritimes looking at high temperatures around the high teens and the low 20s. And then after that, it's going to be a little bit of a cooler start to the upcoming weekend. A little bit of a fall feel to the air. How did Todd put it yesterday? A hint of some sweater weather. Early morning temperatures on Saturday could be around the low to mid single digits. In the afternoon, high temperatures around the mid to high teens. All right, let's take a look at our weather watcher for tonight. And tonight's weather watcher is coming in from 6-year-old Charlie from Woodville, Nova Scotia. And Charlie has sent us a drawing of an axolotl in a pond during a stormy day. Thank you, Charlie. And I think this is the first axolotl drawing I've had as a weather watcher. Probably won't be the last, though. They can come into CTV Weather Watchers, P.O. Box 1653, Halifax, Nova Scotia, B3J2Z4, or email kaylin.mitchell@bellmedia.ca. Maria.
Thank you, Kaylin and Charlie. On to our next story here. A special blood donor event took place in Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia today to honor a young man who died too soon. CTV's Mike Lamb was there as the Burke Squad came out to remember Jeremy Burke and to mark a decade of donations.
Today is our 10th anniversary for the blood drive that we do every year in honor of my brother Jeremy, who passed away from cancer. 2 weeks after his passing, a friend of mine that worked for Canadian Blood Services reached out and offered to put on this clinic in honor of him and his memory, and we've been doing it ever since. This will probably be my 11th donation today, and then my mom, she's on about her 41st donation. Jeremy was full of life. He was someone that would give you the shirt off his back. He had a very large group of friends and people that, you know, I consider family. We still see them often. You know, it makes us feel connected to Jeremy in a way that we wish he was still here, but if he's not, then we can be connected through his friends.
We're incredibly thankful to the Burke family, and their team is the Burke Squad. For 10 years, they've been coming out and getting more donors to come out and donate blood, either for the first time or coming back. It was 10 years ago that Jeremy lost his life, so it's a good way to honor his memory and also a good way to get more blood donations, which we need right now.
After my brother's passing, I became quite inspired to kind of pursue nursing after watching the nurses that cared for him every single day on the hematology unit. That was kind of like my end goal. That's where I want to work, and he had inspired me along with those nurses. So I started off in kind of general oncology and moved up to hematology shortly after that. You know, a piece of me watching him go through that experience, it was inspiring, but keeping his memory alive as well, and such a tragic situation, and obviously we miss him every single day, but being able to do what he would be, I think, proud of me for doing, and also pursuing something so meaningful and helping others is, you know, makes me feel good as well.
Oh, what a beautiful way to keep his memory alive. What a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're on board for this story.
I'm Ryan McDonald at the Port of Sydney, where tonight we catch up with a mother and son who were gifted a free cruise by what were then a pair of strangers, and we find out how the trip went. The story is coming up.
Mornings with Aaron and Peter.
We're giving away $20,000 every week with Moose Dream Big, plus a daily bonus prize of $1,000.
Listen for your keywords weekdays, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to win.
Welcome back. So we wrap up tonight with an update on a Cape Breton mother and son who were gifted a free cruise by a couple of strangers. As CTV's Ryan McDonald discovered, their week at sea has left a lasting impression, and plenty of pictures, too.
Nicole McNeil and her son Devin are back on land after a cruise vacation that at the beginning of this summer they had no idea they would be taking.
It was amazing. It was unforgettable.
A few weeks ago, we brought you the story of how an American couple visiting Cape Breton on the Majestic Princess met the single mother and her son who has cerebral palsy and gifted them a cruise of their own, all expenses paid. McNeil says the VIP treatment started as soon as they boarded the ship in New York City.
All the crew knew who we were. They were made aware before we boarded who we were. They seen the story.
The pair had never been on a cruise before, but got to see sights like the Statue of Liberty, hang out in the captain's quarters, and enjoy a week of relative luxury sailing up the East Coast.
And we would be dancing up every night. We start our days 9:30 in the morning, finish, go up back to our rooms about 11 or 12 o'clock at night. He was loving the dancing. He was loving all the movement, the people. There was just so much for him to see.
But what may have been the best surprise came at the beginning of the trip, when Nicole and Devin got to reunite with the couple that brought them there.
They drove down from Maryland to New York City, picked us up with, they had an Uber pick us up.
And as if paying for their cruise wasn't enough, McNeil says their benefactors went an extra nautical mile.
They were called and we were upgraded to a fully wheelchair accessible room where it was supposed to be a regular room that we were getting.
When the trip ended, they got a big welcome home at the port of Halifax.
When we come off, they had the Mooseheads mascot there. They had gifts for us. They had the day planned out.
McNeil says while being back home has taken some getting used to after being pampered for a week, the memories they made and the kindness they were shown have left a lasting impression.
It never stopped. And there's so many people to thank, not just Frank and Sharon. It's like they're the big ones, but it just never stopped with everybody else.
A trip to remember and an act of generosity they'll never forget. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Oh, Nicole and Devin, what a beautiful story. I'm so happy that you had such a wonderful time, and there are so many earth angels helping to make things like that happen. Wonderful.
I didn't have a doubt that they were going to have a fantastic experience, and it really looked like they did.
Trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, for sure. So coming up in weather at 6 o'clock, a couple things to talk about. We've got those showers coming through tonight and tomorrow, and then in behind that, temperatures do cool down because they're above average right now for mid-September. This isn't the normal, so that
no
coming
complaints.
up at 6.
Thank you, Kaylin. We'll see you tomorrow. The national news is next.